Bilat here, and for the next 15 minutes, I'm here to talk about the power of storytelling. I believe that whether you're in marketing, working on your next email sequence, direct messaging, or building a funnel, or whether you're in sales, working on overcoming sales objections, negotiation, or closing, the real-life storytelling techniques we're about to discuss are going to be valuable. Why storytelling? Because storytelling is a perfect bridge between sales and marketing. And today at the summit you'll discover many wonderful tech tools. But whatever tech tool or application you pick, they can be 10x by the power of storytelling. So pay attention, take a lot of notes, and let's have some fun with it. Shall we? Why storytelling again? This blows my mind. Do you know that the average human attention span in the year 2000 was just 12 seconds? That's before mobile revolution, obviously. In 2016, we're down to 8 seconds. And just last week, Facebook made an announcement that we lost another second during the pandemic. We're down to 7 seconds. As a comparison, the attention span of the goldfish, Microsoft did this study, is around 9 seconds. Do you know what that means? That means if you go to Walmart, you know they have that seasonal stuff on the way in back, and you practice your sales pitch in front of the fish tank, a fish in the tank will pay more attention to you than shoppers. I actually done it myself, and that's true. Knowing this, I believe that the good story is probably one of the few things left which can hold human attention span. I was very fortunate to discover the magic of storytelling early in my sales career. And this is how it happened. About 20 years ago, my poor old Honda died on the way to work. I managed to push it off the street to Tim Hortons parking lot. And Tim Hortons here in Canada is kind of like McDonald's, it's a fast food restaurant. And while I'm waiting for my friend mechanic to come over and help me out, I'm making cold calls. And they're truly cold calls because it's Ottawa, Canada, it's 20 below, and it's December 19th. I guess I could go inside, but I don't want my prospects to hear the background noises. The other reason I don't go inside is because I'm extremely stressed. I work for a national telecommunication company called TELUS. This is my first job in Canada. It took me 9 months to get this job, and I'm on my 3rd month of probation. And I have absolutely zero on the board. Everything is on the line. My only hope to close anything, actually, is a downtown hotel called Lord Elgin. But how can I close them? I could never get the general manager on the phone. So I keep calling, and finally on the 5th attempt, he picks up the phone. His name is David Smythe. And this is how our conversation goes. Good morning, Mr. Smythe. This is Bilat calling from the Wireless Business Solutions of TELUS. How are you doing this morning? And he goes, Ed from TELUS? Let me stop you right there. First of all, where did you get my cell number? Second, it doesn't matter because you called me 5 times this morning, and while I appreciate your persistence, it's annoying and unprofessional. Third, there is no way in hell I'm changing my wireless providers, okay? Because 4 months ago we signed a contract with Bell, it's a 3-year contract, and we're happy. Fourth, I don't think much about telecommunication companies, and I particularly don't think much about TELUS, because your phones don't work by my cottage in Valdemar. Ed, are you still there? Just to be polite, I say, yes, I'm here, but guess what? He just gave me 4 solid objections. He doesn't like me, okay? He doesn't like my company. They don't need our services. And he despises telecommunication companies as a whole. This is as good as it gets, okay? But once again, just to be polite, I say, yes, Mr. Smythe, I'm still here. And then he says something interesting. Ed, in addition to calling me 5 times this morning, you sent me probably 12 emails, and then I see in your signature that you have a degree from the University of South Alabama. But when I'm talking to you, you most certainly don't sound like a guy from Mobile, Alabama. Can you even say y'all? And I say, yes, sir. Y'all come on back now. You here? So he laughs and he says, "Listen, Ed, it's Christmas. Why don't you come to my hotel? We go for a coffee. I want to hear your Alabama story in person." And I said, "Sure, Mr. Smythe." It says, 9 o'clock. I'll see you there. And I did. And this 15 minutes coffee became full-blown 3-hour appointment where he showed me his hotel, how his maintenance team is working, how his housekeeping team is working. And what I quickly discovered that my original proposal simply to replace bell phones with TELUS phones did not make any sense. But he was actually looking for a productivity app for the way to improve the way they dispatch things around the hotel. So I was able to redo the whole proposal, submit it to him, and then on Christmas Eve, 9 o'clock in the morning, he signed the contract, saving me and saving my career. But he didn't stop there, so he introduced me to the Ottawa Hotel Association, and one by one I started closing hotel chains. I kept my job, I got promoted, I won TELUS President's Club. Now every time I drive by Tim Hortons, this is the picture I see. It's like Christmas every day, right? But the most important part, that David Smythe, for 20 years, has remained my friend and my mentor. And we meet at his hotel time to time. Obviously, this is prior to pandemic. And he always laughs about that call I made 20 years ago. And I would never forget this lesson about the power of the story. Since then, I've been a cold caller, account manager, territory manager, director, VP, and ultimately, I have started this company with just one goal: share the gift of storytelling and help businesses grow. Our company is working globally, anywhere from SMB all the way to Fortune 500. Verticals such as retail, high-tech, finance, food, consulting, telecommunication. Last week I had a back-to-back call with one of the largest software companies and then a small insurance brokerage with just 2 people. And guess what? They're having the same identical challenges. How do we work virtually in a post-pandemic world when we cannot see clients face-to-face anymore? How do we deal with the lack of attention, and how do we deal with objections? How do you do this? One of the key components is to have a company-wide library of stories, which is exactly what it sounds like, that at any given point you can go to this library and you pick up a book. But not just any book, a book which was specifically written, rehearsed, and practiced for this particular sales situation or a stage of the sales cycle. By the way, the story needs to be true, but it doesn't have to be yours. And if you are a new sales rep, for example, and you say, "Hey, I don't have any stories," no problem. You can still go to that library and you can borrow a book. And the second concept, in this library, we're going to have a little section which is called Objection Collection. Why Objection Collection? For that, I would like to use a quote from one of the greatest philosophers of our time, Mike Tyson. "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." It's true, he actually said this. Everyone has a plan until things don't go as planned. So let's build a better response. You know that objections are coming your way. Why don't we prepare for them? First of all, how do we define an objection? An objection is simply a reason or an argument offered by your client who opposes your idea, product, or your action plan. 2 things here. First of all, it's very important to distinguish that they don't reject you personally as a human being, because this is very hard, right? They're just opposing to an idea or particular path you're trying to take. And second, it took me a long time to realize this, but objections are actually a good thing, because it's an indication that they're interested in having conversation with you. Otherwise, they would just walk away and they will be end of the story. And for us, the salespeople, it's probably the worst thing is silence, right? As Richard Branson says, no means new opportunity here. So my advice is to condition and prepare yourself mentally. This is a golden opportunity to have a conversation. Think about it. When an objection comes, how do we respond? 90% of people will do something which is on the left side of the screen, which is boxing. You punched me, I'm gonna punch you back. And it becomes a constant exchange of blowers. What I'm proposing is something on the right side. Storytelling, which corresponds to another martial art, something called Aikido. Myself, I had over 12 years in a competitive judo, and then I switched to Aikido. I was shocked that you could get same results doing so much less work. Especially our sensei, who was 75 at the time, could easily take down any guy in a dojo without breaking sweat. And ask him, how do you do this? And he responds, you don't understand. The bigger and stronger my opponent, the less work I have to do. Because all I do, I take their energy and I transfer it where I want it. Okay? And probably at this point you're thinking, okay, Ed, what are you talking about? Energy, Aikido, what does this has to do with sales and marketing? I promise it will start making sense. So let me show you 3 minutes clip from a keynote we did in San Diego. This is a pharmaceutical company with about 400 sales reps. Take a look.
Good morning. So usually we do this with Shay, but today...
I threw Brady under the bus.
Now you got it? Yeah. Okay. So let's imagine you having a regular sales conversation, right? Every one of us has their own zone of comfort. So what does it mean to have it in a martial sense, right? So when you enter in their world, you're making an approach. The first reaction is what? It's an objection, right? And the very first thing you do, you need to figure out, is this a real objection or a deflection? Is Grady just protecting his space, or is this a real pushback? Is this call me back in 6 months? Or is this I don't think my parents can afford your product, right? So that's the first thing. Once you figure out that, it's very important because you don't want to fight their own objection. What if this is a real objection, right? What if he's really pushing back, right? So 3 things gonna happen. Option 1, you do nothing. Push, push, push. And he's eventually gonna push me off the stage. Keep pushing.
Keep pushing back.
Yeah, and this would be, Mr. Grant, I'm really sorry to bother you. Perhaps I could call you later. It's maybe not a good time. Again, I'm sorry to interrupt your day.
Yeah.
Okay? So 90% of the sales conversations will stop here. You're done, right? Option 2, we go back. So he pushes back and you push back, right? And it becomes a wrestling match, right? So, right? So like we struggle. Right? So it's a direct confrontation, right? So when you're saying like, what do you mean your parents are not gonna like it? They'll love it, right? And notice, he has 2 arms against my one, right? He could be stronger than me. He could have more experience, more power, more connections, right? The direct confrontation is very, very chancy. You don't want to do that. And even if I overpower him, right? So is he gonna recommend my product to his patients? No, right? So now we're talking about the third option, which is storytelling. This is where we find the common ground. So you enter, he pushes back, and you try to figure out, where is he pushing me, right? So I think it that way. Well, great, I work with you, right? And so, yeah, we'll do it again. So you push, great. So we're working together. It's the common ground. So this is where you tell the story, right? So push, we'll go again. and then finally, right?
You're enjoying this way too much.
Engage, and this is your call to action. So thank you very much.
Thank you, my dear.
Very brave man.
Okay, does it make more sense? Hopefully it does. You see, Aikido translates when 2 becomes 1. Now, instead of fighting, you're walking together toward the common ground with your client. We're at the very end of my presentation, but if you would like more tips, practical advice, and best practices, connect with me on LinkedIn, mention this summit, and I will send you my book, The Storytelling for Sales Playbook. Once again, I cannot stress enough the importance of having a story library and specifically objection collection area. It's been my honor and my privilege to work with you today. Enjoy the summit and many wonderful speakers. And remember, as Mayor Angela said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Thank you, and may the power of storytelling be with you.